together we survive.
Pain as portal. Queer crip magic. Interdependence is power. Welcome to Held Together. I'm Xander Peer Keller, and I'm in my bed, as usual. This bed that has gone from an isolation chamber to a community space. And I want to invite you in. Held Together is an invocation, an exposing, where we literally bring folks into my bed to talk about life inside a care web. A web that includes disability, queerness, sickness, neurodivergence, and the intimate realities of interdependence. I used to try to hold it all together, and now I feel held together. This is a recording from a live Zoom event where I bring a guest into my bed. So you may hear other folks besides me, my guest, and our host, Nora. One thing that I feel nervous about is this topic is really tender, both in my own life, like sharing parts of me that I feel like haven't been shared or haven't been exposed. And it also feels tender because I know that so many folks don't have community and connection. And I feel like, I want to acknowledge that truth. And I also want to like believe and dream into that shifting together. And I'm not sure how to do it. And so I'm not sure exactly even how to name that, but I just want to say, like, I know that this can be painful to be with, and I want to be with the pain, because being with the pain is tied for me into all of the joy that I can access. The pain and the joy and the love and the community and the grief and the fear are all intertwined. And so I just want to name, like, this might be painful for many reasons, and I want to make space for that as best as possible, and also just acknowledge that the reason why this is in existence is because of the isolation and because of these stories of inviability and not being able to be in community is why I want to have this conversation. And I'm not totally sure how, but that's like the hope. So I just want to name that as we start. Also, I just want to say, I just came off of a big cry. I just had a really hard doctor's appointment with some really unfortunate and like demoralizing lab results that just seem to be getting worse and worse. And so there's this part of me that's like, oh my God, this is the worst time to do this. And also, it's always the worst time. And I should cancel most of my days, but I'm trying to figure out how to still live and be when a lot of days are days that like a non-sick, non-disabled person wouldn't even try. And so today is a microcosm of that. And so it makes sense that today's a day where I'm like, definitely not the day. And also like, here I am and here we all are. So I hope that as I'm showing up like puffy-eyed and tender, that you all can be here as you are and do whatever you need during this time. Okay, so story. I think the starting place of the story is 7th grade. Bolts Junior High, beige brick walls with linoleum floors that are yellow and white. And this is peak tomboy Xander. And I get placed in choir class. And I am not happy about it. And I go into the counselor's office. I'm like, I do not know. Like, I do not want to take choir. And she's like, sorry, this is what you get. And so I spend the entire semester lip syncing because I'm afraid that the sound of my voice will ruin the rest of the sound of the choir. So I'm lip syncing my way through the class, and we get to the end of the semester and it's time for everyone's solos. And I go up there and no words come out. And I run out of the classroom, and my teacher interprets it as though I wasn't trying. And I wanted so badly to tell him how much effort it is. I don't know if anyone's ever tried to lip sync, but it's a lot of work to keep track of the lines and like move my mouth along with everybody else. It's like a lot of work. And no words came out when I wanted to tell him that either. And so from that point, I did not sing. And the story that the sound of my voice was going to ruin something got more and more rooted in me. And at the same time, there's this feeling of wanting to express and wanting to have a voice and wanting to share and to sing and to, yeah, like liberate this whole voice being of me. And a few years ago, it's been a number of years of like this process of liberating my voice, and it's been really tender because there's a lot there for me around singing especially, and also telling stories and taking up space and sharing about myself. And so 2 years ago, I was sitting with my friend and I was asking about harmonies, and I wanted to learn how to harmonize, and he was giving me this really simple harmony. And every time I would try it, these words would come so fast, I didn't even recognize them as they were flowing through. And it was just like, I fucked it up. And it was almost like Tourette's. I fucked it up. I fucked it up. And I kept doing that every time. And it was just like on a loop. And he paused me and he said, I think most people need to practice a lot, but I think what you need to do is soothe your system and stop trying. I was like, what? And because I really wanted to get it, but that was not the way. And so he asked me to make a saying to tell myself, a mantra of sorts. And the thing that came to me was, all my sounds are worth making. And then in my head, I was like, it's not perfect, it's not right. And he's like, I think the not perfect is exactly right. And so then he asked me to make a little gesture. And so it was rubbing my belly button. It still is. So I rub a circle around my belly button and I say, all my sounds are worth making. All my sounds are worth making. And that became my practice of like getting to harmonies. And it's really been helping. And so I love to sing, and it's very tender for me. But there's this songs often come to me as my teachers and my healers, as I know a lot of you have this too. And so this song came to me at 3 different crucial points in the last couple of years. So it's kind of like a ballad. And I want to start by singing it with you because it feels like my entire journey of getting to held together. So if you're willing, I'm going to start with sharing you this ballad of a song. And yeah, okay, I can do this. Okay. See, my mind runs all the way backwards to that time when I was almost dead. And my mind runs all the way forwards to that time when I was sick in bed. What do I do? What am I gonna do? Where do I go? Where am I gonna go? What do I need? What am I gonna need? I don't know, I don't know. I don't know, I don't know. Can I let this be a poem as I lay my head alone? Can I root down in my bones and try to walk myself on home? See, my mind runs all the way backwards to that time when I was almost dead. And my mind runs all the way forward to that time when you were in my bed. The memories start to transform. There you are, all around, as I open open to be held and find myself already found. You make my nest, bringing me more sticks, and I weave them till it can hold us all. And now my mind has so many more tricks to imagine what is possible. And yes, I do know that this life is inextricable. Can I outlive this poem and build a life of not alone? As I'm dreaming us all home, as we're dreaming us all home.
That was beautiful.
So yeah, that feels like my story. I feel like I want to explain it, but maybe it's self-explanatory. Like there's just so much of me finding myself like needing to be okay by myself in the pain by myself alone, and like finding the poems and the home in that process, which is so important to me. Like being okay in my aloneness and savoring it. And also there's just like when the song morphed about 8 months after the first part into this like, oh wait, you can build my nest, because everyone's always like, what do you want for your nest? And I'm like, I don't always know, like, can someone build my nest? And having this idea that like people can build my nest and then I can also build it for us, and like we can build these nests together, and it's not just me kind of figuring this out and getting through it by myself, has just been this dream that came through a song that is feeling more and more possible. So it feels really special to have Beth here in my bed, and this is where we usually are. And yeah, I guess we can get into dialogue now.
I think that is the very question, which is how did we get here to this place where the two of you are right there in your bed doing all the things that you do together?
I feel like I kind of want to start 6 months ago, which is definitely not the beginning, but why would we start in the beginning? Because I have this Chani app, if anyone knows of Chani, the astrologer. And I was listening yesterday about my weekly astrology, and she said to look at the like 6 months ago to see what was seated. And I was like, oh, what was 6 months ago? And 6 months ago, I was sick. Surprise, surprise. And my birthday was coming up, and I was like, oh shit, I can't do anything for my birthday. I'm not well enough. And I had people around me to support, my dog is moving around, to support me in like keeping with that feeling and question. And while I wasn't able to do like a gathering that I would normally think of as a birthday thing, I had a bunch of people, or a couple of people, Chantel and Beth, help me think about like what could a birthday be, and what do I actually need and want. And so that was a really interesting question, because I was just gonna be like, oh, I can't do anything for my birthday, like woe is me kind of deal. And what I landed on with a lot of help was that I need help with my creative process, because I'm a creative person and a creative being, and there's been a lot of things in the way of me feeling like I can really focus in on that and hone in on it and do it. And so one of my dear mentors and elders, Randall, always says I'm irrepressibly creative, which is feels like such a beautiful thing for him to tell me, because it is kind of just spewing out of me. But I've never felt like I was really like committed and focused and could like do the next steps of the creative process to turn it into something. And so I was like, okay, birthday, I have people, maybe the people can help me, hold me accountable, and also help me do this process. Like, what does that look like? And so it was an invocation and an invitation and a curiosity of like, what does it mean to just put this out there as something I want to do, and I'm not sure, and I'm scared because I don't know if I'm really going to be able to follow through. And like now I've made this year-long commitment, and what's it going to be? What, like, is it possible, and what's it going to become? Wait, okay, do you have more to say? Because you were there for it.
Yeah, this is the second time in my life that you have given me a job. And that is a big piece of our story, is that just like, it's not just a non-disabled person who has to take care of a disabled person. This is like the back and forth, the giving and the take, the flowing with the seasons of our really long relationship. And this is one snapshot of it, us coming back together, and you are talking about it from your perspective of receiving so much from me. And the other half of the story is that I was receiving so much from you. And it got to be a part of my job, which is kind of a dream job in the moment right now, to be able to work with you and work for you and work on putting your creative work in the world. And it started out as getting your writing out there. And you're one of the bravest people I know, because you were asking for feedback from so many people on your personal writing. And like you said, it has iterated and morphed into so many other things, like many branches of a tree. And like this held together has been one branch. And the whole time we've also been reflecting on our dynamic and our relationship together. And it felt really important and powerful to talk about it publicly, and yeah, to share the things and like the learnings that we've been having, especially because we were finding that typical narratives were saying that like the disabled person is the burden and the non-disabled person has to take care of them. And that just was not our experience at all. We've been having a really wonderful experience, also challenging. And we wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, so 6 months ago, there was this invocation that I feel like turned into this, and there was no idea that this was out there, but there was idea that something was out there. And so my hope is that this is now like another layer of what's possible. And the thing that kept coming up around that birthday ask was I was so afraid I wouldn't be able to follow through. And Beth kept nudging me like, it's okay. And the thing that I keep finding that I don't even really notice, it's one of those things where the words come out and I don't even hear them, is I say, how am I ever going to do this alone? Like, I feel like I say that so often. I didn't even notice how often I say it until Beth started slowing me down and being like, why do you have to? And I'm just like, wait, what? Because this story is like, right now I have support, but I'm not going to. And it feels so scary to lean on because I'm so afraid that it's going to go away. And so in that was really present during the birthday time, as I was so afraid of committing to something and not being able to do it.
And almost ironically, because as you were putting together this ask for people to engage with your creative work, the list kept growing. You had like 20 people, 40 people, 60 people, 80 people. And for some reason, that little gremlin voice in your head kept saying, how will I ever do this alone? How am I going to do this when I'm alone? Yeah, and I always like to say, why would you be doing it alone? You have so many people in your life. And also, that's why we want to talk about like Care Web a little bit too, and like how those people are in relationship with you, and also how that functions, like how you're in relationship with other disabled folks, how you're in relationship with more non-disabled folks. And that's also why we felt like this needed to be a whole series, because I'm just one relationship that you have, and then your relationships also get connected to me and it gets woven through itself all over again. And all of our relationships and dynamics are different, and we all like offer each other different pieces, feels like.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will just say, it's probably confusing that Beth has a job. So just to clarify, one of the things that is new in my sickness and disability journey is having like identifying my needs and reaching for support has been a really long, challenging process. And I never reached out for, like, I never thought I would be like eligible or want to take, like, I have all these stories about being a burden, both in community and also in the world, like not wanting to take resources that someone else could have. But the Department of Vocational Rehab in Colorado has support for disabled folks, and that is why Beth has been able to get paid to help me. And so I'm just acknowledging that that is a huge privilege, and white people are way more likely to access resources like that for lots of reasons. And so just noticing that. And also, I was one of the people who thought that that would never work, and it is. And so just also recognizing that I totally wrote all of that stuff off like it was going to be and it still is a pain, but
It was not without a lot of paperwork.
there's definitely like things to it, but just wanting to give context for like, what does that mean, job? Yeah. This was just the first part. In the full episode, we go deep into what's gone wrong in our relationship, how we repair, the concept of spoon alchemy, and what it really means to support the supporter. Click the link in the show notes or go to heldtogetherpod.com to subscribe for full-length episodes, raw conversations, and other behind-the-scenes goodness like zines and original music. This is also where you can connect with us. I don't want this podcast to just show a care web. I want it to be one. We're building it together, learning what that means as we go. The music you hear comes from my friend Ember Bradbury, who turned my voice memos into the first of many Held Together songs. Find her as Sorona Isle. Stay tender, stay tangled, stay held together.
Held together we survive. Held together we nourish. Held together we thrive. Held together we flourish. Held together we flourish.